there, friends.
Hello.
Lovers. Oh my gosh. Things got complicated again. Haven't gotten complicated in a while. Well, they got complicated again. Hello, friends, lovers. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sticking around. If you were here 15 minutes ago and thought, what the heck is going on? Well, we've got it going on.
Yes, we do.
Friends, lovers, thank you for joining us. This is 5 Minutes with Robert Nasir. I am Robert Nasir. I am joined, as always, by the lovely and gracious, the beautiful, and my better half, Amy Nasir. And all of you. And you know who you are. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, I'm so hot right now, so I've got a wet rag on the back of my neck.
Amy is so hot right now. She's literally hot right now.
I'm so hot right now.
Folks who've been following our adventures on the social networks are aware that we got our second vaccine shot.
Yay!
Hooray! Except, of course, you probably heard some folks find that second shot can be a little more side effect laden than the first.
Like about 1,000% more.
For some folks, and that's exactly where Amy found herself. So,
but I know that I have the immune system of a goddess.
That's right, because it is trying to fight whatever they stuck in there a couple days ago.
Goddess of war.
Holy smoke!
Take no prisoners.
That's right. Today is Sunday, April 25th, 2021, the 115th day of your best year yet. You've got 250 days left of this your best year yet. And if you haven't yet made it your best year yet, well, let's get to it. See if we can't help you with that. There are 244 days left until Christmas, 189 days until Halloween. Halloween.
Yay!
We were just talking about Halloween. What were we just saying about Halloween?
I made a strange earring.
Oh, that's right. I should have taken a picture. We could have got them up on the screen there.
We'll take a picture. So I have to make the matching one, but it's
We'll get them posted. These
it's
ears.
basically
It's a bone.
You can
and
see
a
this,
tooth.
but yeah, there's a
And
tooth, a bone, a heart, and a
lungs?
pair of lungs.
Holy smoke!
It's so great.
If
And I can
anybody
see
needs
it on
custom jewelry,
contrast.
Amy can make that happen.
So yeah, this is one pair of earrings, or one part
One
of the
of
pair.
a pair of earrings.
And I love it.
I wonder what the matching one will
It's-
look like.
How it will look.
Well, how matching
nice
it will
and
be.
Nice and light, and airy and glamorous.
189 days until Halloween, but also we're making a trip soon to New Orleans,
Yes.
as we've mentioned before, so that will be appropriate for that vacation. There are also 70 days left until Independence Day. Independence, well, that's going to fit in with today's theme. But on this date, April 25th in 1859,
Wow, wait a minute.
just-
1859.
it seems
is
like
that,
almost 200 years ago.
Did people live back then?
I know, 160, what would that be, 162 years ago. On April 25th at Port Said, Egypt, ground was broken for the Suez Canal, an artificial waterway intended to stretch 101 miles across the Isthmus of Suez and connect the Mediterranean and the Red Seas. Ferdinand de Lesseps, the French diplomat who organized the colossal undertaking, delivered the pickaxe blow that inaugurated the construction of the Suez Canal in 1859.
Wait a minute. They were doing something that extensive
In 1859, they were going to dig a 101-mile canal. Artificial canals had already been built in the Suez region since ancient times. These canals fell into disrepair or were intentionally destroyed for military reasons. As early as the 15th century, Europeans speculated about building a canal across the Suez, which would allow traders to sail from the Mediterranean to the Indian Ocean via the Red Sea instead of having to go around the Great Hope Cape, the bottom of Africa.
Yes.
The first serious survey of the isthmus occurred during the French occupation of Egypt at the end of the 18th century, and General Napoleon Bonaparte personally inspected the remains of one of the ancient canals. France made further studies for a canal. In 1854, Ferdinand de Lesseps, the former French consul to Cairo, secured an agreement with the Ottoman governor of Egypt to build a canal. An international team of engineers drew up a construction plan, and in 1856, the Suez Canal Company was formed and granted the right to operate the canal for 99 years after completion of the work. Construction began this date, April 1859. First digging was done by hand with picks and shovels. Later, European workers brought dredgers and steam shovels. Labor disputes and a cholera epidemic slowed construction. The Suez Canal was not completed until 1869, 4 years behind schedule, 10 years after it started. And when it opened, the Suez Canal was only 25 feet deep, 72 feet wide at the bottom, and 200 to 300 feet wide at the surface. Think about those numbers when you remember the news story from a couple weeks ago. The boat, the shipping container ship, the freighter got stuck in the Suez Canal. Hard to believe that was 1859 when that was first built. Obviously, substantially improved since then. Also on this date, Ella Jane Fitzgerald. Ella Fitzgerald was born, 1917. American jazz singer, the first lady of song, queen of jazz, Lady Ella. Noted for her purity of tone, impeccable diction, phrasing, timing, intonation, and a horn-like improvisational ability. If y'all aren't already fans of Ella Fitzgerald, go on whatever music service you use, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever that is, or go to YouTube. Find some Ella Fitzgerald and fill your life with that, especially you youngins who might not have heard Ella Fitzgerald before or may have heard her and didn't realize who it was.
We need to have an Ella Fitzgerald street named, in every single city across the United States, and monuments and statues of her everywhere.
I'm willing to bet there's a bunch of them, but you're right, there needs more.
Yeah.
Let's see. Fitzgerald appeared in movies and as a guest on popular television shows in the second half of the 20th century. But her musical collaborations with Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, and the Ink Spots were some of the most notable acts outside of her solo career. These partnerships produced some of her best-known songs, such as Dream a Little Dream of Me, Cheek to Cheek, Into Each Life Some Rain Must Fall, and It Don't Mean a Thing If It Ain't Got That Swing.
I'm very fond of her Christmas album.
Her Christmas music is wonderful. Some of the best Christmas songs you'll hear. In 1993, after a career of nearly 60 years, she gave her last public performance. 3 years later, she passed away at the age of 79. Her accolades included 14 Grammy Awards, the National Medal of Arts, and the Presidential Medal of Freedom. So happy birthday, Ella Fitzgerald. Rest in peace. Again, if you're not familiar with Ella, look up Ella Fitzgerald in your favorite music service or on YouTube. Give it a listen. You'll love it.
Yeah, and if you just came in, I'm going to be a little bit out of it.
Yeah, if you're just arriving, as we mentioned, Amy is still recovering from COVID vaccine shot number 2.
This is what it looks like when you feel really overheated.
Yes, and the damp towel around the neck is a good thing.
Damp towel on the neck. I might put it on my forehead. I don't know, but yeah, so this all started, I think we got our shot Friday at 11 a.m. and came home, felt great, had a sore arm after a while, that was fine. By midnight, I'm thinking to myself, by 11 p.m., I'm getting ready for bed or whatever. I don't know what happened. It's all a blur. But I'm like, hey, this is great. I'm not having any symptoms. I'm going to fly through this just fine, Ha ha ha, I laugh at you, Moderna vaccine second dose. And oh my gosh, did it ever laugh at me back?
Yikes.
It smote me. Oh my gosh, by midnight I was, I felt bad. And then, for 3 hours until 3 a.m., I felt feverish. I was having shivers and shakes. Like, I don't know, I was going through withdrawal or something. And
it was bad.
I was ugly crying. So fun. And by that time, I think about 3 a.m., that's when it kind of broke. And then I got a little rest, and then I woke up and I was so disoriented. And And it wasn't till just about a few, I don't know, 2 hours ago.
A few hours ago, it kind of broke.
It kind of broke, and
Yeah.
well, what I meant by that is that I still have a bit of a headache, and but the dizziness was getting at me last night and this morning, and it was very interesting. It was almost like having a bad trip on shrooms. It was kind of like
As
that.
one does, you know.
Not that I've ever done that, except when I was 19 and I was really stupid. But I'll just say that it was very strange.
It was a bad scene, not a good scene.
But I'm so happy that I got through it, guys. And I knew I would, and I'm so very happy. We're going to have 94% immunity or protection against severe COVID in 2 weeks. And I'm very happy. I'm super happy.
It's all worth it.
Oh, what do you have there
It's
in
funny,
your hand there, Robert?
We were text messaging with a friend who actually hooked us up with the particular site, the vaccine site we used.
Yes.
And we had talked about the side effects, and Amy joked that I must have gotten the placebo because I seem to have done substantially better in that regard. I've been really achy the last couple of days.
Yeah, body aches.
But I don't think it was actually the vaccines. I think it was this. A couple folks have seen this already online in pictures. This is my bicycle helmet. Now, this is what happened to my bicycle helmet. And the only possible, the good thing about this is that could have been my head with parts falling off. So I'm going to count that as a good thing. Point is, I'm achy too and sore all over, but for entirely different reasons. What a couple of weeks we've been having. Really, I mean, starting since the Easter morning disaster on my bicycle and leading right up into COVID shot number 2.
Well, life is preparing us to become stuntmen. Stunt persons.
Well, Friedrich Nietzsche famously said, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. But the problem is, sometimes it kills you. So I guess we got to count ourselves as lucky. And that's sort of the point. Jim, incidentally, quoted Manhattan here. The song, Ella Fitzgerald, will make Manhattan into an isle of joy. The great thing about some of the old music is the way it celebrates the big city. New York in particular, but cities in particular, in general, rather. That celebration of the joyfulness of life in a big city.
Yes.
Just shines through. It's wonderful. And we're getting some love here in the chat. Thank you so much for that. That means the world.
Yes.
Whatever means the world means. It means everything to us. We discussed on Wednesday, on my Clubhouse show, which is no longer on Wednesdays.
It's going to be Thursday.
Thursdays at 5 o'clock Eastern.
Thursday. Bring your hammers.
We talked about the idea of life as an end in itself. And the initial jumping off point for that was a friend of ours. A friend of ours is dealing with the same sort of crisis of meaning or existential angst that Amy and I have talked about before. I think we both went through that, individually during our teens. And so I was very, very sympathetic to that and empathetic and concerned. To some people, this is hard to identify with. And I'm going to talk about it for just a bit. So if you're that kind of person who says, oh, well, nobody should feel that way, then, this might be a bit for you to get through here. But we're going to go real quick. A friend asked, what is the point of existing? And I had answered back that points and purposes, goals and meanings are chosen, not imposed. So the point is up to you and me. What else could be the case? How else could it be? I still find that this observation that it's up to each of us makes life more grounded and meaningful, not less so. See, if deciding your purpose seems subjective or arbitrary, how is it less so if some external force imposes it? Between I've decided what my life means, what it is and what it's for, versus God decided, or the universe decided, or society decided, or the state decided. It's all of the latter assertions that I find arbitrary. Now, my friend mentioned their chosen career, about which he's very passionate, quite successful, and said, "But it is not the reason I was born. It is not why I came into existence." And I answered, well, that's true. There is no reason I came into existence above and beyond the actual reasons it happened. I was conceived in the usual manner, and I was born. And that's it. So my friend went on, well, we should want to know why existence exists. You can tell this person is familiar with Ayn Rand. And so I answered, this may be the crux of the matter. If you feel that there can or must be a transcendent super existence out there beyond existence itself, you know, that something beyond everything that's responsible for everything, that God or demiurge, it would have to be something else, which of course leads to all the contradictions of the first cause argument, like who created the creator? If we can imagine a creatorless creator, or creatorless anything, then a creatorless universe is the simpler, better answer. And it's preferable by Occam's razor. And that answer has the virtue of limiting us to things we actually know are true and exist. So my friend postulated, well, if the universe was created by an evil god, or were part of a simulation, or any number of other mystic possibilities, then why bother at all with this existence business? And, you know, that's irresistible to me. I answered back, why bother is a great question. And it should be applied to any worldview, even if we lived in Voltaire's best of all possible worlds. Even if the earth was created with us in mind and we're imbued with a higher purpose, even if we were assigned some raison d'être, the question why bother would remain. Even if our ends were designed and assigned, we'd still have to decide whether or not to pursue those assigned ends. We'd still have to answer that question, why bother? See, whatever the form, nature, and origins of the universe, it still comes down to us, to the decision, in each and every moment, to carry on, to make the effort to live. Now, finally, friend writes, if there is no reason for me to have come into existence, and no reason for the universe to exist, then any reason I come up with still seems hollow. And that's where I get back to what Amy and I went through earlier in our lives, because I wrote back, I know the feeling. I went through it for years. But someone or something else telling me, well, here, I've decided your reason for being. That's not less hollow. That's more so.
Right.
To the extent there is meaning and beauty and joy and purpose and passion, those things and all of the other values I experience are a function of me, of my mind and body, of my soul and spirit, of the life I've lived, the life I'm living right now. To the extent a person still yearns for something external to everything, or a purpose defined and imposed by someone or something else's higher purposes, there is no answer. There is no external to everything. In the end, it's akin to asking who created everything, and realizing the question isn't just unanswerable. The question doesn't make sense.
And by the way, I should say real quick is that this friend of ours, who shall remain nameless, is a really wonderful person.
Well, that's
And,
kind of my point
we
in
love
pointing
this
out
person.
that he's extremely successful in his or her, I shouldn't be using genders,
His or her.
career. Very successful,
And a
both
super awesome
professionally and in general. This is not some young
It's-
person like I was as a teenager asking these questions. This is somebody really sharp.
But you
I mean,
know-
really bright.
But these are the kinds of things that are really frustrating because you want to be able to know what is out there, and
Yeah.
it's frustrating not to know that. And
Well, especially
I joked with this friend of ours that I got him really creeped out one time, and I told him, "Is there a wall in the universe?"
meaning like something
there
at the
was a lot
edge
of-
there, and then outside of that is all the other stuff we're looking for.
Well, obviously, if there's a wall in the universe, then there's something beyond that wall.
But then isn't that stuff part of the universe?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's frustrating and it's kind of creepy in a way, because it's one of those things where you'll never know exactly, but to say that existence exists,
Well, you kind of do know.
You do
Yeah.
when you say existence exists. Whatever's out there is out there,
Yeah.
and it's okay that it's out there, and it's okay that I'll never know how big it is or
I
whatever.
love that Jennifer writes, I hit that wall once. Yeah, I think I did too. I think I totaled a car in it.
Oh, Jennifer.
It's not just that we don't know what's beyond everything. Everything is everything. Everything is all there is.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's why I find that
And-
everything is enough.
Well, and you can find the same kind of creep out when you think to yourself, how small is the smallest thing in an atom? And once you find the nucleus of the atom or the electron, is there something smaller
what's
within
that
that
made of?
electron?
But what's
And
that made of?
What's that made of?
Yes.
You start
All good
driving
questions,
yourself
and there are
crazy.
people working on that.
there
I
are.
shouldn't laugh because,
I know.
again, that's the kind of existential angst that we've run into before.
Yes.
We've been there.
Yes, we've been there.
But I'm just going to repeat myself here.
Well, we do have some comments here.
Good. I'm just going to repeat myself here. It's not just that we don't know what's beyond everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is everything. Everything is all there is. And that's why I find that everything is enough. Because all of life's enoughs, air quotes there, all of life's enoughs, all of the reasons for living and doing and being and creating and striving and loving and celebrating are within everything, within existence, within you and me. So, what are folks saying?
So, John the corrector, awesome. He says,
What is he correcting me on?
Oh no,
Something to be sure.
No. He's just, his comments are, he's thinking, that for those people who are frustrated about those questions, it
Yeah.
sounds like they're
What did he write?
seeking to belong to something bigger than themselves.
Yes.
And
that sense of wanting to be part of something larger than yourself, I've seen multiple motivations for that, and some of them are more good-natured than
yeah,
others.
he mentions one motivation. Many people are afraid to put their own life first. They only feel safe if they are being altruistic or obedient.
Right.
Yeah.
I've mentioned the kind of idea of the division of labor society and the bounty that comes from that, the joy that comes from that. There's also an equivalent, because there's a value exchange there, there's an emotional or spiritual component to that. And people want to be part of large undertakings and large projects. They want to be connected to people in that way. And that can be a good thing. That can be a positive motivation. But there are other reasons why people seek a meaning or a purpose larger than themselves that are not so wholesome.
Right, and I'll just say this about our friend, this friend of ours. He has every good reason or good motivation. This friend of ours is an objectivist.
Well, I don't mean to get too much into the friend. I didn't mean to violate any privacy or personal stuff, so I don't even want to talk about that.
Okay.
I was only using this discussion that we had as a springboard for the topic.
I see. I just want to make that clear.
Yes.
Yeah,
this is an awesome person. One of my favorite people in the world.
Yes.
So naturally, when the topic of life as an end in itself comes up, it's funny, when I search Google for that, it took me right at the top to the Ayn Rand lexicon and the entry ultimate value.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny, I tried it in a different browser and I got different results. So obviously Google is invading my privacy and tailoring the responses to me, which is kind of rude. That was weird. Okay. So right away the response I got was ultimate value, and a quote from the Objectivist ethics. And ultimate value is that final goal, or end, to which all lesser goals are the means. And it sets the standard by which all lesser goals are evaluated. An organism's life is its standard of value. That which furthers its life is the good. That which threatens it is the evil. Without an ultimate goal or end, there can be no lesser goals or means. A series of means going off into an infinite progression toward a non-existent end is a metaphysical and epistemological impossibility. It is only an ultimate goal, an end in itself, that makes the existence of values possible. Metaphysically, life is the only phenomenon that is an end in itself, a value gained and kept by a constant process of action. Epistemologically, the concept of value is genetically dependent upon and derived from the antecedent concept of life. To speak of value as apart from life is worse than a contradiction in terms. It is only the concept of life that makes the concept of value possible. And it's interesting because when I thought of this, I immediately went not to the Objectivist ethics or any of the nonfiction writings. I immediately thought of Kira's Viking.
Uh-huh.
For folks who've read We the Living, you might know there were some bits of writing from early versions of the story that were reprinted in the anthology The Early Ayn Rand. Here, I'll hold that up for the folks who are watching on video. And one of the short bits was a just 3-page passage called Kira's Viking. It starts off, there was only one book Kira remembered. She was 10 years old when she read it, and then it tells the story of this book she remembers. And at the end of the story, we have this Viking who smiled as men smile when they look up at heaven, but he was looking down. His right arm was one straight line with his lowered sword. His left arm, straight as the sword, raised a goblet of wine to the sky. The first rays of a coming sun, still unseen to the earth, struck the crystal goblet. It sparkled like a white torch. Its rays lighted the faces of those below. "To a life," said the Viking, "which is a reason unto itself." And when we talked about this on Wednesday, Amy quickly pointed out, well, that of course comes up in Anthem, which is what I should have thought of first. So I'm just going to read the beginning of chapter 11. This is a spoiler. If you haven't read Anthem yet, you might mute your audio for about, call it 20 or 30 seconds here. Chapter 11, second from last chapter. Folks who know the book will know exactly what I'm about to read. I am, I think, I will. My hands, my spirit, my sky, my forest, this earth of mine. I stand here on the summit of the mountain. I lift my head and I spread my arms. This, my body and spirit, this is the end of the quest. I wished to know the meaning of things. I am the meaning. I wished to find a warrant for being. I need no warrant for being, and no word of sanction upon my being. I am the warrant and the sanction. It goes on just as beautifully from there, but that is the point.
In terms of trying to find the purpose in your life, and I mentioned this on the Clubhouse on Wednesday. Now it's going to be Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. In terms of finding out the purpose of your life, I think some people, and I felt this way too when I was younger, that it's arbitrary to fill your life with things that you particularly love. That you're looking for somebody else to tell you exactly what kind of career you want, you should have, or however, and it just feels a little bit mushy and arbitrary and not very solid. To ask yourself, what would I like to do? What's my disposition? What am I inclined to doing that I might enjoy? What's my personality style? What would suit me? What would give me the most reward? What would give me the most joy? What would give me the most satisfaction in terms of thinking about something, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week? And of course, it's difficult to know your values, especially when you're young. But I think it's certainly an approach that has helped me. And it's not arbitrary, and it's not hollow, like our friend said.
It's not arbitrary. And to say that it's arbitrary is to give too little credence to your own, not just values, but your own thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to read one more quick quote from Ayn Rand from Philosophy Who Needs It, and then I'm going to give my version of the point. She wrote in Philosophy Who Needs It, "The assignment I gave for myself tonight is not to sell you on my philosophy, but on philosophy as such." The talk is about the need of philosophy. "I have, however, been speaking implicitly of my philosophy in every sentence, since none of us, and no statement, can escape from philosophic premises. What is my selfish interest in the matter? I am confident enough to think that if you accept the importance of philosophy and the task of examining it critically, it is my philosophy that you will come to accept. Formally, I call it objectivism, but informally, I call it a philosophy for living on Earth." And we're going to talk more about that because one of the challenges I run into with folks who are interested in philosophy, and especially folks who are interested in objectivist philosophy or Ayn Rand's philosophy, is that they don't use it for the purpose of living or improving their lives. And so purpose and meaning are arbitrary or floating, or at least taken for granted, even if they are pretty good. And one of the purposes of a discussion like this is to help me and you and hopefully folks out there to, if not clarify, at least appreciate the work that we've put into both defining our purpose and achieving it. Now, I'm a firm believer that philosophically, there's a list of 35 must-memorize definitions, and I've memorized most of those, but I also think that if you really believe something, you should be able to say it in your own words.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I've done that with, for example, philosophy, and objectivism in particular, but especially philosophy in general many times. And one version of that was a post that I wrote a little while back, maybe a year ago, year and a half now. And I'm going to read that real quick because if folks ask, well, what's your point? Why are you here? I wrote, it comes down to this: live the best life you can. You were gifted a life, free and clear. You were born. And as everything is finite, one day you're going to die. So make of your life what you will, as you wish. As bold and adventurous, or as silly and outrageous, or as ambitious and industrious, or as quiet and pleasant as you like. Ideally with few regrets. Values matter a lot. disvalues and threats very little. Focus on the former as much as you can. Tend to the latter as much as you must. Your means to achieve this is to think and to act, to use your mind and your body. The first is primary. Your reasoning mind is the source of every value beyond the animal level, beyond gathering nuts and berries. The power of a conceptual level consciousness to transcend the immediate moment's thoughts and concerns is so magnificent that when it's multiplied by 2, by 10, by 1,000, by 7 billion, it has led to all the miracles of modern living which we experience and take for granted. From cheap and bountiful food, shelter and clothing, to unprecedented safety and security, to dazzling technology, to endless art and literature, to values too numerous to list. What's true of your nature, the need to be free to think and to act on your thinking, is true of everyone else as well. Respect that fact in others. Once you establish that, you can get to the business of meeting and engaging and trading with and befriending and loving everyone you can. And you should. You deserve to love and to be loved. You deserve the spotlight, at least now and then. You deserve the rewards of every good action you've taken. But these rewards won't always come of their own accord. Karma requires a driver. So ring your own bell, blow your own horn, squeak your own wheel. Take care of those you call your own and keep good company. Tragedy, failure, drama, injustice, outrage, sadness will touch each of us. And that's as it should be. Values cannot be automatic nor guaranteed. And human beings are fallible, breakable, limited, finite. Suffer when you must, and as gracefully as you can. But in essence, life is good. If it wasn't, we wouldn't. But we do. So, do.
Very good, darling. Well, Robert's probably going to be expanding that one into a book. We do have some comments.
Yes.
I know we're getting up. Well, I know we started 15 minutes late. So,
Yes, we did.
So we're going to go a little
thank you,
past
Facebook.
7 o'clock.
Or is it Restream? I'm not sure which
Yeah.
service is to blame for that.
Yeah. So, oh goodness. Well, I mean, going back to what we were talking about before in terms
Yes.
of people kind of wanting to find something larger to live for. Jim says, some people, usually mystical persons, often talk about a higher plane of existence, but there are no higher planes of existence. There's only existence. Those people who believe in and pine for a higher plane of existence actually just want another existence. It seems to me that that is an expression of a desire to escape the possibility for living their life. Or the responsibility for living their life. Yes, that can certainly be true.
Yes.
I guess there's a song by Lauryn Hill. I think that's a songstress, maybe. Holly says, everything is everything. What is meant to be will be. After winter must come, eventually it comes eventually. Or change, it comes eventually. You see, guys, maybe you should be doing this, Robert, because I'm a little bit out of it.
Yeah. Well, I think of the song by the quote-unquote wizard rock band, the Remus Lupins.
Yes.
What's coming will come, and we'll face it when it does. I think that was quoting Dumbledore from the Harry Potter books.
Yeah, in terms of...
That idea that...
yeah.
No, I lost the Lauryn Hill quote there. But,
Oh.
yeah, that idea that what is meant to be will be. Well, certainly what's coming will come, and we'll face it when it does.
Yeah, que sera, sera.
Que sera, sera.
Something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, Mary Aline.
You left out that I was corrected in the pronunciation of raison d'etre, which
Raison d'etre.
I don't even remember how I said that, but naturally the corrector, trademark, copyright reserved, was right on that.
You need
So
to
that's
ask
good.
the lady who knows French.
Yes. Well, no, raison d'etre is correct.
Yeah, no, it's right.
And there have been times in my life where I'm sure I've said that properly. Lord knows where my tongue gets twisted. But it does, and it keeps me, I'm not going to say humble. I don't believe in humility. It keeps me grounded. It keeps me context-laden.
Well, I gotta say, Mary Eileen, you and me both, Catholicism made altruism somewhat automatic for me as well.
Oh, Lord.
It's been very hard to overcome. I mean, we have friends who have, oh my gosh, yeah, they're in their older years and they're still struggling to get over that.
Yeah.
That's
Part of the Wednesday night discussion was, what is the impact of faith? You know, aren't there people who are better off with their faith than they would be without it? And doesn't it serve people? And I'm not going to get into that discussion now, but it's a discussion we could and probably should have eventually.
Yeah.
Long story short is that reason will always get you further than anything else.
Yes.
And
think it through.
yeah. Thinking is a good thing.
Thinking's a nice thing.
Thinking is a good thing.
We need to snuggle up with thinking.
You know.
Your brother Mike has a comment here.
Yes.
But we don't know what we don't know. Therefore, we strive and will continue to desire more knowledge and awareness. Yes, that is enough.
That is enough. And, you know, it's one of my mottos is, and I've posted this and talked about it many times, everything is finite.
Yes.
Which sounds kind of trivial or metaphysical, kind of a basic principle that doesn't really attach to anything. But it turns out once you realize that everything is finite, it changes your perspective on a lot of things. For example, your level of knowledge is finite.
Yes.
And your time to gain additional knowledge is finite. So spend some time reading books, but don't spend all of your time reading books. Spend some time expanding your knowledge, but don't spend all of your time expanding your knowledge. You know, memento mori, remember that someday you're going to die, and we've only got so much time.
Yeah, and Jennifer says regarding finding something that's larger than you in life, she says elephants are larger than I. I should join an elephant herd.
I want to join an elephant band.
You know, I don't know how they'd be able to really play instruments. They have the trunk. They could
They have the
do
built-in
a snare
horn.
drum. Oh yeah, they have a built-in horn.
Everybody can tell. I'm just so eager to get out there and start rock and rolling again. Now that we've had our COVID shots, there's got to be people. There's got to be open jams around town. Our band is on hiatus, so we've got to find people we can rock out with.
2 weeks until our crazy immune systems kick in with that.
Yeah, and on that subject, Jennifer is rightly quoting music from Clockwork Angels.
Yes.
A great album, but an amazing tour. I've talked before about live videos that you should see. The Clockwork Angels tour,
by Rush.
Rush's second from last tour, was a stunning production. They did things I didn't know you could do with technology and screens.
Steve, right?
And no, I saw the one before that.
Okay.
I think that was Snakes and Arrows.
Ah.
Which was also great. I mean, every Rush tour is great. Clockwork Angels took things further than I thought they should go. I would say to another level, except I dislike neologisms, and I find take it to another level is so overused that I refuse to say the words take it to another level. I'm not even saying those now, you only think I am. But Clockwork Angels really was extraordinary. And almost a better swan song than the R40 tour, which was the final tour.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so good and startlingly good.
Nice.
Surprises, but not just surprises, but things you're like, oh, I didn't even know you could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
So that's
I don't
Rush,
mean
who is no longer
going
to be touring until they decide they will.
Well, Alex Lifeson and Geddy Lee will do something.
Yeah, they will.
But it was kind of like Led Zeppelin. You couldn't really have Led Zeppelin after John Bonham passed away, and so they didn't.
Right.
You do other things that are great.
And John the corrector does say something. He's not correcting me. He's just saying about what I had said about making sure that One other thought about this real quick is that when you do figure out what your disposition is geared toward in life and what you want to do and what makes you most happy, you can validate those decisions. Even at the time you know they may feel hollow or arbitrary, you validate them by doing them and then asking yourself, was this rewarding work for me? And you have reasons for, you know, I did this and this happened and this is what caused that, and I'm very happy with these results and I'm so very proud that I was able to be a part of this.
Yep.
You know, there's you know, you decide what you want to do, you do it, but it's also extraordinarily important to look back, introspect, and extract the meaning from it.
But John is talking about something that comes just before that, and Yaron Brooks has talked about this and has made a similar point. This is crucial. We're not talking about defining your purpose. We're only talking about life is your purpose.
Yeah.
Life is an end in itself, but we do need to have an episode on purpose. We've discussed it before. Because some people come into philosophy like really abstract, and I want ideas to tell me what my purpose is, and if I figure out the right ideas, I'll figure out what I should do. And, you know, that I'm exaggerating a little, but not much.
Right.
A lot of people really do come into this with the idea that ideas will give you purpose.
I totally felt that when I was 20.
Yeah. Well, like I say, a lot of us have made these
16.
mistakes. And John makes exactly the right point. He writes, and if you don't know what you like, and this can apply to your purpose or even just your values in general, and if you don't know what you like, you need to experiment so you can learn. You know, we talked about Andrew Bernstein's lecture, How to Be an Impassioned Valuer.
Yes.
And he makes that point. You've got to get out in the world. You got to get your hands dirty. You got to get dirt under your fingernails. You need to go out and see what life is like.
Yeah.
You need to go out and do things and make mistakes, or at least try things that don't work out to figure out where your passions lie. Because the point of living in the world is you're living in the world. You know, that's why I always go back to Ayn Rand's quote that I read from Philosophy Who Needs It. She says, you know, formally, I call my philosophy objectivism, but informally I call it a philosophy for living on Earth. That's why the Clubhouse show is called Life on Earth. And so that's a great point that John makes. If you don't know what you like, you need to experiment so you can learn.
And hey there, Kurt. It's nice to see you. And he makes a different kind of point. He says, it didn't make a difference to Prometheus whether the Earth was the center of the universe or not, but it sure made a difference to everyone else. You know, if you remember Prometheus, he brought the fire of the gods down to people of Earth. And some people are being silly too. I know
people are being silly after.
I love it. You guys know what we love, and we love it when y'all are silly.
Well, Jennifer was talking about pachyderms and elephants. So Jim writes, well, they're the reason I failed chemistry in school. I could never understand the periodic table of elephants. I saw a single pachyderm on that stupid table. So the chat is fun. If you're not chatting, you should be. Join us here. Except, of course, we're now running out of time, even considering how late we started.
Yes.
But on the bright side, and because of all of our illnesses and bicycle accidents and all of the craziness going on, one thing I did not do this week, despite all this amazing show prep and pages and pages of stuff, is I did not assign any homework.
Oh.
You know, the only take-home point is your life is an end in itself. Act accordingly. I didn't even have a Post-it note for the week. So I'm still working from last week's note. So,
as they say in New Orleans, do what you wanna.
Do what you wanna. Do what thou wilt is the whole of the law. I think that's a different philosophy. I don't think that's it. I think maybe more of the take what you want and pay for it. That Ayn Rand has even quoted.
I like
I
that.
think that's a little more the direction you want to go with that.
Yeah. And John says, "Dang, I think I'm a romantic rationalist. Boy, COVID-19 has not helped me." I'm not so sure what you mean there, John. Wait, I don't understand. What?
And Jennifer writes, "Oh no, homework." Yeah, no homework.
No homework.
Homework. Don't worry. Homework is coming next week.
Yes.
Once we're back to it. And
Yeah.
and it'll be great homework, really. It'll be something you're looking forward to doing. But I'm just going to throw the reminders out there.
Yeah.
Show notes will be posted online within 10 minutes of the end of the episode. Questions and comments can be posted in the 5 Minutes with Robert Nasir Facebook group. People who would like to support the show financially, we got a new supporter and another supporter who bumped up their contribution. You know who you are.
Thank you,
I did
guys.
promise that I'm going to
Thank
start
you.
reading these names, and I will do that. But for now, just thank you. Heartfelt thanks to folks who are supporting the show financially. Links to Patreon, patreon.com/Robert Nasir, and PayPal for single one-time contributions, paypal.me/Robert Nasir. Those links are at robertnasir.com.
RobertNasir.com.
robertnasir.com. So that's all you need to
robertnasir.com.
remember is go to robertnasir.com. There's a link to the YouTube channel. There's a link to the Facebook group. There's a link to everything that you care about. And there's even an embedded copy of the latest video. That'll be updated right after the show.
So cool.
And information on the Clubhouse show for folks who are on that weird platform that only Apple devices support for now, but they're working on Android. That will be on there as well. The update tonight will show that it is Thursday nights at 5 o'clock now so that our UK friends can listen to the show without having to stay up past midnight. Although we've had folks staying up past midnight just to listen to the show. Got to give them mad props, whatever that means, for doing that. No, mad proper respect to those folks who have stayed up past midnight in the UK and Scotland to participate in the show. But we're bringing it down to 5 p.m. Eastern,
Yeah.
which is 11 o'clock UK time. Is that 11 o'clock? It's 10 o'clock UK time. They're on British summertime now.
Mm-hmm.
When it switches back, that'll be 11 o'clock. But yes, 5 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock
Thursday.
UK time, or 2 o'clock in the afternoon Western time, and that would mean 3 o'clock in the afternoon in Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Yes.
What's in Jackson Hole, Wyoming?
That is Quint Cordair Fine
Cordair
Arts'
Fine Art. Oh my
new
gosh.
location in Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
What if you're not in Jackson Hole, Wyoming? How could you find out more about Quint Cordair Fine Art?
You go to Cordair.com.
Cordair.com.
Cordair.com. It's so simple.
You know, we almost had a week where we didn't try to get in we gotta become part of their, officially become part of their advertising program.
Yes.
Yes, we do this just for fun and out of love. So, robertnasir.com, all the links that you care about.
Oh, and one last note. Jim has a nice thing. He says the one sentence in Ayn Rand's writings that has had the most personal importance for him, spiritually and psychologically, is from Anthem, quote, "And my happiness needs no higher aim to vindicate it."
And my happiness needs no higher aim to vindicate it.
Yeah, love it.
Well, that's a great way to wrap. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sticking through our technical problems. Sorry we started a little bit late, but such things happen, and I guess everybody runs into this now and then. It's one of the challenges of doing a live show. Mm-hmm. If we just recorded this and uploaded it, like all the books recommend that you do with a podcast, but no, I love doing a live show. I love being here with all of you in the comments and the feedback. It's just,
Love it.
warms the heart. So thank you so much for joining us. And as always, we wish you, and you know who you are listening to us right now, we wish you success. We wish you happiness and flourishing. We wish you the absolute rock-solid knowledge that you are an end in yourself. You are the point. And as always, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart and the depths of my mind, we wish you love.